All right, welcome. This is the only second time I've tried, so please be patient. I think I've worked out all my bugs since meeting number one, but what we're talking about today is the half bracket seating for softball. Some of you have done many seating meetings, some of you have never done one at all. The reason we're doing this today is because the half bracket seating is new for a lot of people, especially in divisions 2, 3, and 4. Sometimes it's nice to share this information in person instead of email all the time and go, I wanted to try this format. Just note that we're not necessarily running a how to run a seating meeting. So I'm not covering everything in detail on how to run a seating meeting. Feel free to interrupt at any time if you do want more information, and I can share that. So a few Zoom meeting guidelines. First of all, you all should be muted. If you're not muted, please mute your microphone for now so you don't get background noise. And then just unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. If you have a webcam, please turn it on. It's nice to see everybody who's attending. For those of you who've either called in by phone or don't have a webcam, we're going to see like a gray avatar looking person in your place. All right, again, today's topic is the half bracket or the large group seating meeting. So some of our discussion is specific to those of you that will be hosting a meeting electronically, and some of it will be specific to those of you who are hosting in person. I am recording this meeting as well, so if you want to go back and watch it, it'll be on the softball page later today, or if you know of any other ADs that couldn't attend and they are hosting a meeting, just refer them to the softball page, they can watch it. Any questions before we start? All right, let's roll. So first of all, let's begin with the pre-seating meeting procedures. Hopefully all of you have been to the softball page and logged in under WIA tournament information and found your seating meeting procedures. There was a little change we made to the procedures, and you should have gotten an email from Sheila yesterday with those updates. So if you downloaded that a while back from the softball page, throw that one away, use the one Sheila sent you yesterday, or go back in today and download a new copy, because like I said, there are some changes that we made that will help clarify how to do the large group seating meeting. Make sure all the contact info is up to date for everybody, and really get a cell phone number. That's huge. You get a cell phone number from all the coaches that are involved, especially if you are seating electronically, because once when it's hard to get a hold of people, it holds up your day and it can chew up a lot of time on your end if you can't get a hold of people quickly. Okay, first of all, let's talk about options for electronic seating. I'm just going to share with you a document that that I used last year to host a seating meeting at SPASH. Let me just grab that. All right. All right, this is really simple, and feel free to use it, don't use it, but we just did it as plain old email electronic seating meeting. So we started our process last year at noon on Monday, and we ended it early in the day on Wednesday. I did kind of put a little, a little catch in here that if for some reason we couldn't get things settled via email, there had to be a certain time of day that we designated coaches that have to be available to do appeals. So it was pretty smooth. So again, feel free to use this if you want to. Now, Jim McClary at Appleton West did something different this year that was pretty cool. He did everything through Google. So let me just find that for you. It's disappearing on me. Oh, that's the same one, sorry. Where's his document? All right, I'm playing with it and I can't find it. How many of you are comfortable using Google Docs? Has anybody tried that before? Anybody?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well received and pretty user friendly, even if it's someone that hasn't experienced Google Docs in the past.
Yeah, it's, if anybody wants to use Google Docs or Google Forms, send me an email. I'll send you, or send Jim McClary at Appleton West an email directly. Both he and Nathan Delaney at Marshfield have done their seating meetings through Google Docs. It was great. So instead of just emailing back and forth, there was a shared document for them to share their summaries. There's a shared document for them to do their rankings and their voting and share appeal information. So again, that's another option for an electronic seating meeting that you might like. A little bit more up to date than the old email seating meeting. And then lastly, I've never tried this, but Google Hangouts also could be used. I did a little research on that. It looks like there's a limit of 10 people. So that might be one drawback of Google Hangouts, but that's more of a video conference so you could actually see each other. Or again, with these large group seating meetings, if you've got people coming from a great distance, you could include them by Google Hangout or a video conference as well. Has anybody tried anything with Google Hangouts in any capacity? All right, I haven't either, but again, it might be an option for you to use. Any questions on electronic seating? Anybody questions on electronic? Okay, let's talk about the face-to-face meetings. You should have gotten an updated document from Sheila today, and again, it's on the WIA webpage. Let me just go there. So if you are on our webpage and go to softball, the document I'm referring to is right here under seating meeting materials, and then the procedures, which actually was not, it was updated yesterday. So this is a brand new document with a few changes. Can you guys see this? I'm sharing my screen. Somebody verify what we're looking at. Okay. All right. So this has been the big question. We got a lot of questions during basketball this year because basketball, like softball, went to the large group seating meetings. So I did a little clarification on here that you can really use either option 1 or option 2. You can either seed your entire group, 1 through 16 or however many you've got, and not break into 2 groups. That's pretty easy. It's the way everybody's done seating in the past. The other option you can use, and that's okay to use either one, you can break into 2 groups. So in this procedure, the top 8 teams shall be announced. At that time, you take any appeals for a number 9 team that thought they should have been in that top 8. But then once you're split, you don't come back. You split into 2 separate groups and you continue seeding those 2 separate groups. There's advantages probably to doing it both ways, and I've done both as an athletic director. I really don't have a preference for one or the other. Some things that you might want to consider when doing those 2 options, you might want to let the coaches vote. Ask them which way they want to do it before they even come or vote at the meeting. But like I said, there's no right or wrong way. Just make sure it's communicated with your coaches which procedure you're going to use. The stay in one great big huge group, seed everybody, or break into 2 groups, seed your top half and your bottom half separately. Does anybody have questions or comments about those 2 steps? Or has anybody tried one or the other? Okay, we'll keep going. Just a few helpful hints, up here on number 5, I really think this is important to read this out loud. I think coaches need to hear that from you as the host. You're going to introduce everybody, have them make updates, their season summaries, draw for the order presentations, and then read these factors and remind them. This is no special order, but these are all things they should consider when seating. Letter G. One other special factor this year you may want to consider saying out loud is the great distance that some of these teams are going to have to travel. They may or may not want to consider that as something that, if they're going to have to travel 3 hours versus a 45 minutes for a difference between a 13 and a 12 seed, they may decide it's really not worth the appeal if it's going to lengthen their trip by a couple hours. So you may want to mention that under this part, under other special factors. It's better to talk about it right out in the open than to all of a sudden have people leave the seating meeting upset because they have a really far trip and they really didn't think about it. And now they go back and their parents are unhappy and their school administration's unhappy. So again, say it out loud, talk about it so people really think about those long trips that they might have to take. You know, southeast corner of the state, probably not a factor, but definitely up here and in the Northwest, it's a pretty significant distance when you look at these large group seating groups. Before your coaches leave the meeting, make sure that you've got sites determined and that their field is on the approved softball field list. Make sure that you've got game times determined. There is not a default start time for softball, so you actually have to put that in when you enter your halftime report. So get that information from coaches before you leave. You should have received this from Sheila, I think yesterday. And again, this is also on the softball seating page. This is just your instructions for the end of your meeting. Go on to your halftime score center. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's all drop-down boxes. And this is where you will also enter your game time. Any questions on how to use this form and how to enter information in? One other thing that I wanted to show you that Sheila just added to the web page yesterday, was a great suggestion by an AD, is this one right here. I wish I would have had this at my fingertips when I was an AD. This is an auto-calculate Excel file. You'll love it. Don't have to get your calculator out. So as you can have your laptop right there with a projector or something so coaches can see it. This is a typable document, and as you add numbers in, moving down, you can see what's happening at the bottom of this sheet. It auto-calculates the totals for you, so that's really nice. This document really truly is just a worksheet. Do not send this to the WIAA. You complete the halftime score center thing, but this is for you, and you can type this in. You could print this out and send it home with schools if you want to. But again, the auto-calculate part is the part that I think is pretty nifty. You don't have to worry about making math errors and giving schools wrong seeds. So again, that's available on the seating procedures page for you to use for your meeting. All right, that is everything I had on my list. At this time, I'll just take questions from those of you that have anything you want to ask about with seating at this time. Anybody? Don't forget, if you have a question, you've got to unmute yourself. Oops. All right. No questions. I'm going to go ahead and log off, you guys. Thanks so much for taking time today. If you have any feedback, again, this was just meeting number 2 for me for Zoom. If you have any feedback, pluses or minuses, would love to hear it. Do you like this format better than getting emails? Did it help? Everybody's been pretty quiet today, no questions. So I'm not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but I really do appreciate you logging in. Thanks for volunteering to host a seating meeting. And call me if you have any questions. I think you guys all have my cell number. If not, it's on the bottom of my email. So feel free to shoot me a text or an email at any time.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks, Steph.
This is helpful.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks. Take care, you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.